getting it fired up here. Okay, let's see. All right, you can start saying something, Robert. Let me see how this is going to work.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I got two feeds going.
You got 2 feeds? Okay.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. Okay, I got to figure out which one I got to do here.
That's me.
Okay, I know that. Okay, I'm going to turn. Okay, so I got you turned. Okay, so, go ahead again, Robert. Say something.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So I got you on 2 feeds, but I got 1 turned down. So I think I'm going to be okay now.
Okay.
So everybody's kind of chiming in. Everybody, we're trying to get this all fired up. So it's going to be a few minutes before we get started. But I was just trying to make sure that I worked out all the kinks. Robert, can you email me that the link to your Cash App?
Okay. I just sent you the. Okay. You need a link. Okay.
Yeah.
bad.
I can't transfer it from my phone. I'm not on my phone. I'm on my laptop.
Gotcha. 1 second.
So I'm still a little technologically challenged here. What's up, Dark Goddess? I see she's here and ready to moderate. Good to have you. So Queen of Destiny is in the house. All right. Robert Bush, what's up, brother? So Donald's in the house. He's here. Black Wall Street, what's going on?
Who that, Donald Owens?
Yeah.
What's up, Donald?
So Donald's in the house. So we're just doing a little housework here, guys. So we'll be getting going here in just a little bit. Let's see. So yeah. But yep. All right.
Let's see something here.
So we'll give everybody a little chance to find us. So I know people are like, how do I get there? And I don't know what to tell them. So all I know is when I can tune into a YouTube and on my homepage, I can see everybody's live that's on there. So
right.
How that works, you know. Love JJ's in the house. Watch out. Love JJ is here. Judy Smith Randall, how are you doing? PN Dub is here. What's going on? All right. Got family in the house here, Robert.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, got family. KCL family is in the house.
Oh, what's up, KCL?
Yes, sir. Well, all of us are KCL family, but the African Mind Rewire.
Right.
African Mind Rewire. So all of us KCL family. So Donald says, what's up? So can you see any of that chat, Robert?
No, I can't see it.
Can't see it. Okay, that's right, because you're on the Zoom. So
I can't see it.
Yeah, so you're on the Zoom. But yeah. So all right. What's up, Bruce? How's it going? So yep. Mama Gigi's here. How's it going, Mama Gigi? All right, Kayla, how are you? Finally made the live. Glad you're here. All right, we're gonna have some dynamic stuff going on here tonight. So Love JJ said, "What's up, Robert?"
What's going on, Love JJ?
All right, all right. How's it going, Don Ross? Let's see. Yeah. So we're getting it going. We're getting it going. Trying to find out, how are you? How are you? Good to see you. So yeah, okay. All right, we're getting it going. We're getting it going. All right, let's see. Robert, just send me that link.
I thought I did. It's not really a link. It's just my Cash App name. Is that okay?
Yeah. Just
Okay.
just send me that. Yeah,
I
just
sent
send
it
me
to you.
that. So
I emailed it to you.
so okay, I hadn't gotten the here we go. Okay, got it. All right. Okay, I was trying to get like something I could copy and paste there. Let me see.
Oh yeah. Hold on. Let me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Let me. I'll send it again in a different way.
Yeah, just send it. Just send the text to me. So that's what I was
Yeah.
trying to get, so I can copy and paste it.
Yeah. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Call myself trying to do it quick.
Turn this thing here down. All that dinging and danging and stuff. So yeah. So AD Jones, what's up? What's up? So AD Jones just gave $2. So AD, appreciate that. Appreciate that. I'm gonna give you guys Robert's Cash App link tonight. So if you would, I'd appreciate if Robert is saying something that's good and helpful for you, that's enlightening. Y'all give to him on his Cash App. I would definitely appreciate that, and I know he would too. So show Robert a little bit of love. I know what he's going to bring you guys. I know that he's going to bring you guys something that's going to be like amazing. So get ready. So Martha's here. What's up, Martha? Excuse me. So yeah. All right. Let's see here. All right. One more time. One more time. There we go. All right, Robert. I can get that. I can copy that and paste that into the chat here and be ready to go. Be ready to go. All right. So I'm pasting Robert's Cash App. So if you guys would, if y'all gonna give tonight, please give to Robert. Definitely appreciate that. So we'll get rolling here. And again, glad everybody that's here is here. So I appreciate it. And I'm Reginald Kuakaru, and I'm the founder of Kemetic Centered Living. So I got all my sidekicks in chat today. Got Love JJ, the Dark Goddess, that's here in chat. I know Voche will be here soon. So I know usually have Ra the Creator here and Fort Law. So I know they'll usually chime in. So let's get ready. So this will definitely be a positive experience as always. So got a good community here and people that come here to learn. So that's what it's going to be about today, about you guys learning. So we're gonna get rolling here in just a bit, and we'll get this party started. So Queen of Destiny gave $10. So I put Robert's Cash App in there. If y'all would give to him, so give to Robert's Cash App, let him go. But I appreciate that, Queen of Destiny. So that's Robert's Cash App. I just put up there. It's what's that? Little Bobby 41. So that's Robert's Cash App. If y'all would help that man and give to him as he goes, that would be absolutely wonderful. So I'll be putting that up from time. Love JJ and the Dark Goddess. If y'all would just copy that and just put that Cash App up there for Robert, so people can give to him and give him a little bit of a blessing this evening. So I know you guys, Robert's family has been like extremely generous, man. So I have no doubt that they'll be the same for you tonight. So that'll be awesome. That would be awesome. So tonight we're going to basically discuss some ideas of breaking down some esoteric, the esoteric meaning of some of the stories in the Bible. And Robert is one of my students in my Aftermind Rewire class. He's been with me for a long time, and I know he is very, very passionate about this work. And Robert, just a little background on him. Robert is a minister, and he is also the son of two ministers. So this is something that these ideas in the Bible is something that he's been exposed to for years, all his life, essentially. Would that be correct in saying, Robert, this has been all your life?
Yeah, all my life.
All his life. So definitely going to give Robert a chance to share his story. So I wanted you guys to know that this guy is not somebody that's just like he's knowledgeable. I put it that way. He's very knowledgeable. So Vo Vibes just came in the house. What's up? What's up, daughter of mine? But Robert, if you would. Go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself. First of all, how did you come to KCL? What brought
you? Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Reggie. I appreciate you, brother. Well, I came to KCL. I found KCL actually right during the quarantine of the pandemic, so to speak, when everything was kind of shut down. I'm a big history buff, so I'm always online and looking and watching different videos, watching lectures and things of that nature. And I don't know how I was watching a lecture from Professor James Small, and he was talking about the meta nature, and he literally said. Now I know a little bit about this stuff, but Brother Reggie is real fluent in this. He really knows. So I don't know. That was kind of random of him to say, but I came across one of your videos next, and you said your name was Reginald Kuakaru, and I was like, no way. There's no way I found this guy. Like this can't, because the information was so powerful. And I was like, how do I get more of this stuff? So I just started I binge watched video after video after video after video after video. I would watch them like 4 back to back, go get something to eat, go watch some more. That's what I mean. I was doing a pandemic. I would watch them over and over and over again. And each time I'm like, how in the world did I not know this information? Because as Reggie said, I've been around this information all my life. My parents are preachers. All of my brothers are preachers except one. It's just it was a way of life. So,
wow, so a whole family of preachers.
Yeah. Everybody, my mother was preaching before my father was. So, which is interesting. She was preaching first, then my dad after, and then of course my brothers, and then I have my great grandfather, all of his brothers. They were preachers. So it's like
wow.
this is sort of a lineage, so to speak. But when I found the information, I knew when I found it, this was everything I've been looking for.
So you had no reservations or no because dude, you're coming from indoctrination central, and you had no reservations about this knowledge?
No, I didn't, because I knew there was something else. Because my father told me one day, he was up speaking one of his many messages, and he looked at me and he said, son, I need you to research this for yourself. Don't believe what I tell you. And this was when I was in my early 20s, my mid 20s. And I was like, okay, okay, Dad. So in my head, so I started researching, but I started asking questions about different things. And I always would get the same kind of like, oh, either sit down, you ask too many questions, or when you get good and saved, the God will reveal it to you. And I'm like, it's got to be more than this. Like, nah, this don't, because it doesn't add up.
Right.
So what I found was once I connected with KCL, I realized that hidden or the esoteric knowledge is way more powerful than just reading a story and trying to place myself in the story or wondering how I would do that, because that's how we're taught to do.
Right.
David and Goliath, you have they have an obstacle. You're you're David and they're Goliath. But if only, if only people would understand how powerful this information is. I had no reservations at all. I don't know why. It just came to me like, and the more I read, the more I understood this is where I need to be. And now the last thing I do before I go to bed and the first thing I do when I get up, I'm studying because I love it. I mean, it's just powerful information.
Now I want y'all to hear how Robert is just like, when he says that he is like studying this stuff and how powerful it is and how moved he is by it. Robert, you were studying for your doctorate, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, I was I have a bachelor's degree in business with a background. My concentration was contract management and acquisitions. So after that, I went and got my MBA. And then I said, well, you know what? I'm going to get my doctorate in leadership. And, that's going to take me places, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm in the middle of doing my doctorate. And I find KCL. And I'm not saying this to be facetious, but KCL, the information, the rewire has changed my life to the point where I actually stopped my doctorate.
Say that again, Robert.
I stopped pursuing my doctorate.
You withdrew from school.
I withdrew from school. Now, because there are two reasons why I left school. One is I find that there's more joy. I find more joy doing this than I ever did studying leadership. And
which you're following a principle. What principle is that? What KCL
principle? The principle of Ra.
Mm-hmm.
Principle of Ra, and allowing that principle to permeate my life and create and manifest an environment where I can manifest what I want to manifest.
And you're following your joy.
Right.
Following your joy.
Because I knew, I asked myself one day, why are you doing this? Why are you taking your doctorate? And I realized that I was doing it for everybody but myself. I wanted people to see me in a certain light. And I realized that is futile, because you have this script in your head that people are supposed to respond to you in a certain way. And when that doesn't happen, you get sort of, you get upset about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I realized that I do not want to waste another minute not doing something that brings me joy. And I said, I'm not wasting my time. I'm not wasting my family's time. I'll become a better husband, a better dad, a better son. I know that for a fact, because I can love them from a different place than I was before without judgment.
Explain that. What do you mean by that?
Well, love them from a place of abundance without any judgment. Well, I'll say this. How can I explain it? I'll explain it from a father and a husband from that place, right? So explain it. Well, to I don't want to get too deep, but I'll put it to you this way. Coming from a Christian background, and even if you're not in a Christian background, patriarchy is heavy. And you know, the way I was brought up, provision gave you authority. You get what I'm saying? So if I'm providing, I'm doing all these things, you guys need to see me. I'm the king. I'm the head. You know what I mean? And
provision gave you power.
Yeah, right. It gave me power. But I was telling my wife, I was like, well, honey, you know what? You know, I would be eating. I would have somewhere to live. I would have a car. I would have a job, even if you guys weren't here. So the fact that I'm providing those things for myself, I shouldn't expect you guys to see me or give me authority just because I provide those things. Those things are a byproduct of just me being in existence. I would have those things anyway. Right. So I'm loving you guys from a place of just pure, unadulterated love, you know, understanding that you guys have your own soul journey. You don't owe me anything.
Wow.
We're in this journey together. You know, of course, I'm not living in some Pollyanny environment where, you don't have little, like, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with this. Oh, honey, why you do that? Why you do that? You left the soap. Those things happen. Those little things happen, but I can love them differently. Even my older children now, I have, 3 older children that are grown out of the house, and they call and they're like, yo, this ain't the same dude that we grew up with. Like this cat had changed all the way around. And one day my oldest daughter, she's almost 30. She was like, well, Dad, what's up? And I started telling her about, just where I am. And she was like, oh, snap. Like now she feels freer to talk to me about who she is. Because she lives an alternative lifestyle and I'm okay with it. And like, well, Dad, I was like, well, you guys need to come for Thanksgiving. And she's looking at me like, what the heck? Who is this guy?
Well, who stole my dad?
Like, who stole my dad? But I told her, I was like, this is your journey. This is your soul journey. You need to learn whatever it is you're here to learn it and enjoy your life. Stop worrying about whether people affirm what you're doing, validating what you're doing. Just know that I love you and you're okay.
Wow.
And you're gonna come up against, she's coming up against, family is difficult to deal with, especially, when you come up in a religious type environment, a Christian environment, right. You're gonna have those people that don't agree. And I told her, I said, that's okay. They don't have to.
Right.
It's not their life to live. But just keep it moving,
Man. Now let's and that's beautiful, man. I mean that you come to a place where you can just accept your daughter and your children where they are, love them where they're at and be okay with them being who they are. So that's powerful. That's powerful. So let's talk about just real quickly. Now you are still active in your church. Talk to me about that. How do you reconcile this knowledge and still are able to be active in the church? Because most people are so angry and so ticked off about Christianity that they don't want anything to do with it when they start learning this knowledge. Why is that different for you?
Oh wow! Yeah. Well, as you know, my journey through my life brought me to where I am now, and everything I've encountered in church brought me to where I am now as far as KCL is concerned in this information. I would not be able to grasp it had I not gone through that had I not had that experience. So I value it. I love that life. I enjoy being around my family because this is my family. You know, it's like I can't, you know, be adversarial toward them. And plus, I keep what I believe. I think spirituality is personal. And I don't feel like I need to, as soon as I find the information, that I need to go out and do a stump speech and tell them how backward they are, you know, because I just don't think that's proof. Doesn't make sense, you know, especially if, you know, if you want them to hear the information, don't tell them that they're stupid, y'all backwards, you know, and be mad about it. You know, I want them to see my life and watch me live, watch me create, watch me manifest, and ask, like, wait a minute, bro. Like, what in the world are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Because it's gonna show, really showing itself. You know, just different people are asking questions, you know, and I tell them a little bit here and a little bit there, but I don't feel like it's advantageous for me to cut off people because people need to hear this information. And I feel like that we can preach Christ without discussing whether he was an actual historical figure or not.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? There's so
Yeah.
much that's there. You don't even have to have that conversation. Now,
No,
I feel like
because
at some
there's
point,
so much more, and there's so many more layers than arguing over that one point.
right. And I feel like at some point, somebody's gonna ask me one day, because a light's gonna go on in their head. If they're asking me a question, they're gonna ask, like, well, wait a minute. Well, that would mean, and I'll be like, that's something you need to search for yourself. I don't want to, because I believe in spiritual boundaries as well. Like, I don't believe I should come in and try to dismantle your truth. You know, not unless you ask me. You know, if you ask me a question, I'll answer it, but I'm not going to just, you know, start knocking over tables and, you know, telling them that. But I'm still active. I enjoy it. I feel that I understand scripture so much better now, and I've been preaching for 14 years. Wow. And I understand scripture now way more than I ever did in my whole life.
Wow, that's deep.
Way more. Deep. Like, and then there are certain things I get now that I'm like, oh snap, you know, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Then I have to go and write it down, and then I'll just keep connecting and keep connecting and keep connecting, and it's like a momentum that's building. Yeah. But I don't know, like it builds so fast. I don't know when I'm going to be able to let it out. And then you ask me, like, okay, you mind coming on here? Because, you know, I'm always on the chat or, you know, in the room, in the Facebook page, you know, add my little 2 cents in. So, you know.
Absolutely. Well, that's a good segue into getting going. So the reason why everybody's here tonight, brother. So we want to hear what you got to say and what you got to break down. So let's get to it. So I'll let you get started. Right. I guess get started how you get started. So then we can
all right.
over there and I'll fill in wherever I need to fill in. So
yes, sir. Right. You are definitely more than capable of doing that. Again, just thank you for allowing me to even grace this space with you, my brother. Tonight, I was just thinking about all the different stories I could tell. I didn't want to go too deep, but
well,
I wanted to
people
talk
in the room
about,
been asking, go deep, go deep, go
go
ahead.
deep. But I've been trying to figure out which stories to talk about. I want to talk about Noah and the ark, Noah and the flood. We'll talk about Lazarus, the resurrection or raising Lazarus from the dead, and we'll also talk about Jesus walking on water. We may touch on a few other points if there are questions, but I'm sure there will be. But what I'm finding out now is that the Bible is about the journey of the soul.
Yes.
And that's what I'm finding out more than anything. And I think that's beautiful. So in saying that, there are certain keys that we need to understand, or when you're looking or when you're reading these Bible stories, that'll jump out at you. Once you understand them, and you see them, and you'll be like, oh, that, and you'll get your own interpretation. That's the beautiful thing about ancient Kemetic spirituality.
And the symbolism.
The symbolism allows you to gather your own interpretation and your truth, and get your truth on it, right? So
yes.
With, I know with Christianity, like I said, I've been in church all my life. It's only one way. Like, it's this way. This is how you break down the scripture, and this is what it's saying, and this is all it's saying. You know what I mean? And they'll fight over that one meaning.
Right.
They'll fight over that one meaning. But the beautiful thing about this is I can break this down to you tonight and give you the keys, and you can study it tomorrow and get a whole nother thing that fits you and fits your walk. And that is the beauty of it, right? So
and that's and right there, Robert, is the Kemetic symbolism and African symbolism. It reaches people at their level. So, like, even if we're talking about, like, and they use natural symbols to express these ideas. Right. But the more you know about the natural symbol, literally the deeper you can go about the spiritual knowledge. Right. So somebody that's like an optometrist would be able to go deeper into the knowledge of the eye of Ra than somebody who's not.
Right.
That's how deep this is, man. And it's just so when people start to try to fit one meaning, take one meaning and saying that's it, they've lost it right there. It's they don't understand what they're talking about when they do that. So that's how deep that symbolism can go. Right.
That is so on point. I was reading about the eye today in a book. I think you probably already have it. I know you do, Reddy. The Sacred Symbols of the Dogon. That the eye just kind of, I had to put it down for a minute because it was so it was heavy. So so I had to put it down for a bit.
Light bulbs just start going bloop bloop bloop. Oh bloop.
Yeah. It I had to close it and like, okay, I need to digest that one a bit. So but the different symbols. Back to Journey of the Soul, right? A portion of the soul is that fell into the human body is called Osiris, right? That's what we talk about. We call it Osiris. We say fell, but that's kind of a loose term. I always use parentheses or quotations when I say fail, because that's just the word I use for this particular session or setting.
You say descended.
Fell into or descended into matter or into the body, right? It's the divine seed of nature or divine seed that is within everybody. It's not just in men. It's not just in women. It's not, it's an active, it's both a passive and an active principle that is that's within everyone, right? So
Yes.
that seed is always that divine seed is always looking to return to its source, which is the higher self. Because you have with the soul, it's really complex, but I don't want to get all the way into it. You have the spirit or the ba, or the ba. Then you have individualized ka, or the higher ka. Then you have the intermediate ka, which is the Osiris ka, right? That is inside the body, that divine seed. But there's also that
the
lower
body
ka,
as the mother.
right?
Yeah.
That lower ka, which is where all your emotions, your mental, your psychological, all of that is going on there, right?
And they call that the animal
ka. They call that the animal ka, right? So once you know those particulars, once you start seeing animals in the scripture, you can be like, oh, okay, I can connect that. So also when we're going to start talking about, when we start talking about Noah and the flood, water, one of the symbols, the water is the symbol for water, or one of the emotions is one of the one of the
symbols for emotion.
One of the symbols for emotion. Water is one of the symbols for emotion, right? Or energy and motion, right?
Yeah.
You also have mountain. A mountain is the symbol for an enlightened state of balance. When a
It's
person climbs the mountain,
where spirit and
yeah,
flesh meet.
yeah.
The
When you
mount.
climb the mount, right? You'll see that in the Mount of Transfiguration, and you always see Christ going to the mount. You always see Christ going to the mount, right? So these are things that grab a hold to and pay attention to, especially in the story of Noah, right? The story of Noah, as you can see, right? As the seed, or the Osiris, or the divine seed, goes into the ark of the body, the water, the water of the body. That seed goes into that.
So Robert, can you back out and give like what's the story of the ark? So everybody might not be aware of that story of the ark. So
my apologies. Yeah. So
no, it's all good.
The story of the ark is Noah well, the story goes with, God decided he wanted to, the world was just sinful. It was just a bad place. And God decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to wipe all of mankind out. I'm wiping everybody out. But I got one guy in his family that I'm going to keep. So he talks to Noah and says, Noah, I need you to build, it's going to rain. It's going to rain 40 days and 40 nights. I need you to build me an ark. This size, this is what I want you to do. I need you to get unclean beast, clean beast, and put all of these animals on this ark, and do not come out until the flood subsides. Noah hears them and goes and tells the people, it's gonna rain. And they say, oh, you crazy. It ain't rained here in a while. I don't know what you're talking about. So once it started, he builds the ark, and once it started raining, the people started banging in, but the doors was closed and they drowned, and everybody on the face of the earth was wiped out.
Okay.
Right. So I've always had issue with that story, even when I was a kid. So I'm like, wait a minute. You had lions and zebras on the same ark? That ain't natural. Like, somebody was getting ate. But
somebody was dinner.
Somebody was dinner, but they was like, sit down, shut up. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do what you said me to do. So, but when you see that story, think of the journey of the soul and divine seed descending into the ark of the body. That divine seed is Noah. Some say Noah, Noel means the God mind. The seeds, Noah means the God mind, descending into the ark of the body. The water of the flood water.
The ark being the receptacle.
The ark is the receptacle. That ark is the receptacle to receive the body, right?
Receive the seed.
Right. You're right. I'm sorry. Receive the seed. And once it receives the seed, the waters come. The flood is the emotions of our lives. Because what the soul or what that divine seed is looking for is an event to awaken it. So each of us can point to something in our lives that that have gotten us to this point, that have sparked us to this point, or where we've had enlightenment, right? So when the flood waters come, waters are coming, right? So the flood waters are coming. That's the emotions of our lives, the things that we go through,
right?
The bad relationships, the brokenness, the family aspects.
Those are the stormy waters.
Those are the stormy waters in our lives, right?
And can I give one more interpretation of that, of the waters too, that might be relevant?
Yes, sir.
Is that also talking about the journey of the soul? What most people don't realize is that the idea of baptism actually comes from the idea of the soul descending into the body, and the body being 70% water.
Yes.
That was the original idea about being baptized.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't want to go there. I started to, but I was like, okay, I'm trying not to go too deep in a way, but that's where baptism comes from. The original connotation, that's where it comes from. So do I have to be baptized? You already baptized.
Right, exactly. You already baptized. You already saved.
You already are. If you're here and I can talk to you now, you're saved.
You're saved.
Right.
From the Kemetic perspective.
From the Kemetic perspective, yes, definitely. So as we were the storms of life are raging. I know folks that have been Christian, you've heard that. The storms of life are raging against the ark, against the receptacle, which is the body, right? And that is causing that divine seed to awaken. And it arises within the body or resurrects within the body. And the interesting part, one of the interesting parts of that I didn't catch until earlier today is what Noah did. He first sent out a black raven first. He sent out a black raven, and I was like, I know from Kemetic spirituality, black is a symbol for death or sleep or
unawareness.
Unawareness.
Yeah.
That is a symbol for that. And then he sends out the white. And white is a homonym for light or enlightenment.
Yes.
So keep that in mind while you're reading scriptures. If you see white, light, read just keep that in mind. So as you're enlightened, as the flood waters rages, after he sends out the white dove, he lands on a mountain. The ark lands on a mount. Signifies spiritual enlightenment and spiritual balance. So that is the journey of the soul for that catalyst to happen in our lives, something outside of us or inside of us to happen to cause us to respond to it, or
Yes.
and want to go back to that, or realize that we are never disconnected. We have never been disconnected from the source. We just want to remember who we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what it's doing in this particular story here.
Now, what would you say that the animals in the ark, what are they representing?
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. So, interesting part of that is that divine seed, or that Osiris, is enclosed in with the animal car.
Bingo.
And that animal car, and that the animal car and the Osiris, or the intermediate car, are always at odds. Logical mind and that intuitive spirit is always at odds with one another. That sect Osiris battle,
and that's what the 2x2 is this a masculine and the feminine.
Right.
The feminine is that inner part of us, that intuitive part, and then the masculine is the active.
Yes.
So
thank you for
inside the ark, 2x2 is all kinds of animals. In other words, it's our physical urges, our physical expression of life.
Right. Yes. That's deep. Are we taking questions, or you want me to just keep moving?
Right now, let's keep moving. So let's go with your next one. So
all right, we're gonna go.
I think that ties into the Christ and the disciples that you were going to go into, right?
Right. Water also, again, water being the one of the symbols for emotions, right? The interesting thing about Jesus walking on the water is the scripture said to the mountain first. It said Jesus went to the mountain, and the disciples went ahead into the ship. Now the disciples, they represent different archetypes and different other things about us, but it says immediately, they went into the ship, and Jesus immediately he went up to the mount. Of course, we know the mount to be that place of spiritual balance.
Yes.
And once they saw him again, he was walking on water. He was balancing. He was able to balance or handle the storms of his life. Now it's storming outside.
So in other words, when he went up to the mount, that's the idea of the Christ becoming enlightened.
Right.
And when he came down from the mount, he was able to walk on water or handle his emotions.
So when every time Jesus went to the mountain, came down, a miracle happened afterwards.
Right.
Either someone else was enlightened, the blind were healed, or enlightened themselves. That's what that really means. Something happened miraculous every time he came down out of the mountain. So him walking on water, and then Peter asked him, I want to do it. I want to do it. So he gets out there and does it, drowns.
Right.
He hadn't, that shows there's some shadow work that we have to do.
Yeah.
In order to be able to handle or balance these emotions that we have, so because they're going to come, because where there's positive, there's negative. So we're going to have to deal with these things. But spiritual enlightenment and spiritual balance are the keys to handling those situations in our lives. So please remember that.
And the disciples themselves, they just represent aspects of us as a personality. So there are each of our there are aspects that we have to go through in order to grow. So Peter getting out of that boat, he was basically an aspect of our personality that says, hey, you know what? I can do this. And Peter, at first, he was successful. He started walking on the water. So he was handling his emotions. Maybe Peter had some bills that, man, okay, yeah, I can get these bills paid. It's all good. I'm not going to get scared, you know, blah, blah, blah. I can do it. You know, I can walk on the water. And then all of a sudden you get that friend start whispering in your ear, dude, you broke. What you talking about? Yeah, where you gonna get the money from, dude? It ain't gonna happen. And then boom, the emotions take over and you sink.
Right.
You know,
and
that's what that idea could represent symbolically.
Right. And I was also thinking about what Peter saw, because a lot of times our sight, what we see, impacts how our ability to not only create or manifest or do something or accomplish something. He was doing it, but he started worrying about the storm instead of keeping his eye on enlightenment, right? He got so caught up in the storm. It's not like he couldn't swim. He'd been a fisherman all his life.
Right.
So he got caught up in the fact that there was a storm around him. And a lot of times that happens in life. You know what I mean? We get caught up in...
You take your eye off of what you need to focus on and focus on the negative stuff. And then all of a sudden the storm swallows you up.
The storm swallows you up. Yep. Yeah. That's exactly what happens. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So and I know a lot of people, Robert, they're gonna get like, you know, well, the idea that Jesus is real or, you know, stuff like that. And this is not, so I want to make sure have people understand this is not us trying to bash Christianity or anything like that. It's about us giving you an alternative view or another view of the esoteric understanding of this knowledge. So most of us that were raised Christian, we were taught a certain way of how we should look at this knowledge, but that was not necessarily the way that it should be looked at. Once you start to look at it symbolically, then you're going to start to find a deeper level of knowledge that actually makes a lot of this information relevant to you now symbolically, because the Gospels themselves are simply a fringe aspect of the Kemetic knowledge. You know, it's nowhere near a totality of knowledge. But it's also, when we're talking about the stories in the Gospels, they're really about universal principles and principles that we can look at from I guess a 30,000-foot level and have an overview of a different way that we should handle or look at life, you know. So the things that Jesus was doing in the Gospels was basically symbolic of universal principles that we can use.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a way to definitely way to look at it. I mean, it's really it becomes more and for me, Robert, I didn't want the Bible to be relevant for a long time. I mean, I was mad at Christianity. I wanted nothing to do with it. I tell people this all the time, man. The Bible might as well, the best use of it for me for a long time was to be a doorstop, you know. But when I started to really dig deeper with this knowledge, because for me, I wanted truth, you know, and no matter what it does, sometimes the truth actually changes you, or sometimes the truth will challenge you. And even if it challenges me, I still want to know it. I want to make a decision about it. you know, and that's what it, when I started to really delve into this esoteric knowledge on the Bible, it challenged me on a lot of levels because I didn't want the Bible to be relevant. But once you start to look at it that way, it starts to confirm a lot of the ideas that what people call new age ideas. It starts to confirm a lot of that information today.
Right.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I'm not sure I would be able to. I'm not sure how well I would have grasped it, the Kemetic knowledge, without having a background in scripture.
Yeah.
Because there's certain things I hear that I would just be I'll be in the class, in the lesson, and I'll read something that you wrote, and I'm like, oh crap, wait a minute. And I'll go look at my Bible, and I'm like, oh wow.
Right.
That's what that means. So because when you there was one lesson you were talking about Horus or Heru, and you mentioned him, and you called him the face of the Father, that he's called the face of the Father. And immediately light bulbs went off in my head. And I was like, wait a minute. Philip asked him, when you gonna let us see the Father? And he was like, Philip, when you see me, you see the Father. And I immediately thought about it. I was like, oh man, it's right before my eyes, and I never saw it. And I never figured it out until I saw it.
And just a little background on that principle, the Kemetic principle is that you really can't know what the seed is until whatever it is birthed from it. Okay, so you don't know if the seed is from a tree, you don't know if the seed is from an orange, you don't know if the seed is from an apple until whatever it is sprouts from it. So you don't know the knowledge or wisdom that you're going to gain until the seed is sprouted. So that's where it says that Horus is the face of the Father. So you know the Father once you see what comes out of the seed. That's where that principle comes from.
Right. I had this up, Reggie. I don't even know if they can see it, but I had this up right here. It's a seedling. And this is one of the symbols of, this is one of the images that represent Heru or Horus. Right. And it's a seedling.
The new birth.
The new birth. And I just think about some of the things they called him divine. They called Jesus divine. They called Horus divine. And they called Jesus the first fruit of those who slept. And that's basically saying enlightenment. That's basically what that's saying. So I was like, wow, this is some great information to have. And it kind of segues us into Lazarus. Into the story of Lazarus, where Mary and Martha and Lazarus were really good friends of Jesus. And Jesus hears about Lazarus falling ill. And Jesus had been healing people, and they're like, well, the disciples are looking like, okay, he's gonna go see about his friend. He's gonna heal him and he'll be fine. Then he gets word that he's dead. He's died, right?
Okay, and that word has a meaning, an esoteric meaning.
Yes, that esoteric meaning means that he is either not enlightened, or meaning that he's sleeping, or unaware, or it actually can mean ignorant as well. As you know the term, my people perish for lack of knowledge.
Yes.
That's another scripture.
So a lot of times when you see the words death or asleep or drunk or what's some other ones? So a lot of times those terms,
blind.
What's that? Blind. There you go. A lot of times those terms mean somebody that's just unaware. So that's enough. Those are keys to understanding when you're reading these scriptures, that you can unlock deeper esoteric knowledge, or just understand the overall principle that it's supposed to be expressing.
Right. So when they actually told him that Lazarus was dead, Scripture said he wept, and then they asked him again, and he was like, "Our brother Lazarus is asleep." I was like, "Okay, he's asleep." Then they was like, "Well, he'll be fine." But Jesus was speaking in code even then.
Right.
They didn't know what he meant, but and then once he goes to meet to the family of Mary and Martha, and Mary and Martha meet. Martha meets him there. Mary's there. Mary's at the house. Martha invites him into the house, and Mary sat at his feet. We'll talk about that maybe after we get through talking about this, what that means and who they are in the story. But once he gets to the tomb, he tells them to pull away the stone, and he says, "Lazarus, come forth." Now, the resurrection of Lazarus is actually the awakening of the Osiris.
Awakening of the soul.
Yeah, the awakening of the soul, realizing who the soul is, and becking it, and it's trying to, not really trying, it actually has the will to go back to the source. You got what I'm saying? So even Lazarus, the name Lazarus is actually, I won't say a cognate, but it comes from the name Asar. Of course,
yes.
After different languages and invasions, they're changed. They went from Asar to Al-Asar,
right.
the Arabic, then it went to, not sure after that, but I know it eventually went to Lazarus after some time. So it actually means Asar, or that soul, or that Osiris.
Lord Asar, Lord. Yeah, Al-Asar means Lord. God, now I'm drawing a blank. But the prefix means Lord.
Right. Al means Lord. Because Osiris, I think, means Neb Caressed. That's what it is in the Kemetic term. That's what they called him, Lord Christ.
Yeah, he had many names. He was called.
Yeah, he had a whole lot of names.
And the reason being is because the Osiris is such a complex idea that it's not only about the soul, it's about really the cycle of everything on earth that is infused with the soul,
Right.
So
right.
It's an incredible, so you'll hear the name of Osiris, the many different names about Osiris. I got a Dulce Maria gave 1999, said, "This is mind blowing." Says, "I thank you so much, Reg and Rob, for doing this." So thank you, Dulce Maria, very much.
Thank you, Dulce.
Very much.
My buddy, that's my buddy. That's like Kool-Aid on a hot summer day.
There you go. Goes down smooth and easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, but these ideas, man. I guess the real part to understand about this is that there's more to arguing about a historicity, of the Bible. And if we can just get beyond that, and I think that you definitely show an example that you can still be in church and you can still be there and have an effect on people there when they're ready. We don't have to be adversarial to each other. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people, when they first discover this knowledge, they want to go and tell the world about it. But man, the world ain't ready necessarily. And second of all, it ain't about the world. This knowledge is for you.
Right.
It's about you.
Right. Yeah. And there's I know the scriptures say, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works. So you really want, this is about our journey, about our soul journey. People are going to see it and respond. People are going to be drawn to it.
Yes.
I think I told you this a few weeks back. There was a sudden, one of our close friends' daughters passed away. She was like 30 years old. It was sudden. She had just gotten married, found out she was pregnant, and had a blood clot and passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of shook up everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what, my mother got on the phone and she called me. And I found myself walking her through walking her through how to deal with death and how we are eternal beings. And I'm thinking to myself, she's literally been preaching since I was 8 years old. I'm 49 and I'm using African Rebar KCL information to walk her through dealing with death and how to deal with it. And I found myself explaining to her that, we're eternal. We can never be destroyed. We have a natural body and we have a spiritual body. That's just the way it is. And I was taking her to places in the scripture where I had to meet her where she was, but still give her this information because, I'm looking at it so much that I can kind of go there and kind of show her stuff. Because if I told her energy and mass are the same, she'd be like, "What, boy?" She's 70 something years old. She's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So I had to take her, I had to meet her where she was and to get her to understand, like, we got a natural body and we got a spiritual body, so she began to like, oh, wow. Like, I didn't want to drop the hammer on her and tell her hell wasn't real. I didn't want to tell I wasn't doing that. She'd be like,
and she probably turn off right then and there.
Right. I would have lost her.
And Nadine just gave $5. She said, "Thank you for this knowledge. It's priceless." And much love to you both, Reg and Rob, for this amazing live. Rob, you're so inspiring and amazing. Thank you, Nadine. Definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So, so I guess we can take some questions for a few minutes. And did you have anything else you wanted to present there, Robert? Or
no? The only thing I was going to say was, with all this knowledge is great. But it's all about us applying the knowledge to our lives.
Yes,
we can create and manifest the life we want here. Creating the kingdom within to create the kingdom without. You know what I mean? So that's what we're doing, because I've manifested a house. I've manifested I've manifested I know we're about to take questions, but I've been able to, I just told my wife, I was like, well, honey, by the summer of 2021, we're going to be in a house. And she's like, okay, honey, okay. And it started happening so fast that I was sitting there like, oh my God, like we were in here by March.
So before the summer.
21. Before the summer.
You arrived ahead of schedule.
We arrived ahead of schedule. And I'm like, wow, these are things I was telling, I plan on being a millionaire, but I'm still working at the time. Yeah, I'm working right now. So I'm up for, a friend of mine sent me a job. I applied for it. And I told my wife, I was like, yeah, that'd be great. But I'd love to I want to be a supervisor I want to be a supervisor in my department because I'm off on Fridays. I don't want to change my schedule. Reggie, I kid you not. That was a Thursday. When I got back to work Monday morning, my boss sent out an email saying we're hiring for a supervisor job in my department.
Wow. Wow.
So I say all of these things to say, listen, that's powerful to me, to be able to make an affirmation and watch the universe respond to you, because
Right.
the universe is always ready to respond.
Right.
Always. So just to know those things and to be that confident, and to just to know that the universe is a kind place. And
Yes.
all we need to do is just be kind to ourselves and be ready and willing to speak life into ourselves, because if we speak life into us, it's gonna permeate everywhere. It's gonna bleed
Yes.
over into every part of our lives. So it's bleeding over into my wife. You know what I mean? My
Uh-huh.
wife, my kids, they see it. They enjoy me now.
Wow.
It's a whole
Wow.
lot better because my wife's like, "You're not stressing out." I was like, "Honey, it is what it is. Like, we'll be fine." It'll
Yep.
be,
And just get into a flow.
yeah,
Just
get
get
into a
into a
flow.
flow.
We'll be fine. But anyway, I know you want to take questions, so go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just looking here to see if we had anybody. So if y'all can have any questions on the topic tonight, you can start asking some questions. So we'll stay here for a few more minutes. Since we went a little bit longer, but that's okay. We were flowing with that. So any questions? I know a few people are asking like about talk about revelations and the mark of the beast and stuff like that. Now, for me, that's not necessarily something that I've studied because it's not. I haven't seen that connected to anything that is necessarily practical application. So
Right.
when I talk about this knowledge, when I study it, is where does it lead back to something that can help me in my life? That's how I learned it, and that's how I started to apply it, and that's what I share. So just going to the Bible and saying, "Oh, what does that mean? Oh, what does this mean?" That was never fun for me. That was never
Right.
something that I wanted to do. It was more like, oh man, this here confirms this that I learned. So that's how I've always used it.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't really touch Revelations, because Revelations to me is about a system of some system, or I've always been taught it from a fear perspective, so it doesn't resonate with me anymore. So I don't even touch it. Not that not
Yeah,
that
yeah, and
anybody
and
should. I
it's
just
heavily symbolic too, and so
right,
people want to look at it as something as historical events, but it's really heavily symbolic.
right.
And somebody was asking to explain the kingdom of God within. So that was Bernard Savage was asking to explain the kingdom of God within.
The kingdom of God within. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So in Luke, the Pharisees asked Jesus, when are we going to see the kingdom? And Jesus says, well, nah, it ain't going to be something you can look at.
right. Not
It
something you
ain't going
can
to be
point
something you
to.
can point to like, there it is or there it is. He says the kingdom of God is within you.
Right.
Meaning whatever your inner experience creates your outer experience. That's basically what he was saying. And if you get the gospel of Thomas, I love the gospel of Thomas now.
And that's
I
one of the
actually love
apocryphal.
it. Yeah. And the same question, but Thomas says it different. He said, show us the kingdom. And Thomas says that Jesus says, once you take off your garments and trample on them upon your feet like little children, you will see the kingdom. That garment is that garment that garment of that old garment. They call it a garment of shame, but it's shame, not in shame in that way as they talk about in Adam and Eve. They had on garments of shame, but that actually meant that they were embarrassed because that soul descended into the body, and the body was embarrassed that all they could do now, realize they could do now, is procreate in a sexual way instead of actually manifesting the way they were used to and they knew to. So once they realized and that garment came off and they realized they could manifest by just pure will and manifesting through the mind, they knew then, oh yeah, that's who I am. That is who I am. That's what I'm capable of. You know, I am a god or a goddess here on earth. So having that kingdom within is that ability to create and manifest.
Yeah, and the kingdom, and how I look at that, Robert, is that the like heaven and the kingdom really we can really look at it as two different things. So heaven is a state of being, and a state of being joyful, a state of high vibration. And then the kingdom is actually the place where we can go to create, which is truly our imagination, you know? So anything that we can imagine, we can literally create it. You know, anything that we want to create, we go to the kingdom to imagine it and feel it, and then it can manifest. You know, so the kingdom in that sense can be used as a tool, you know, to manifest. So that's one of the ways that I look at that. Let's see. Oh my God, Fort Laws. See, Fort Laws about to get shot. He asking the question, Robert, where does white people come from? that's a joke that he always like, dude, Fort Law, we're gonna have to shoot you. We're gonna have to string you up by the thumbs.
Right.
So that's one of those crazy questions. But let's see. We had so Bernard asked this question. This is something he says, greater is he that is in you than that is in the world. He said, explain that. Can you believe that?
Reggie, are you serious?
I'm gonna let you go with that one, Robert. Go ahead.
We literally, Bernard, I'm telling you, brother, that's the universe. That's the universe speaking to all of us and speaking back to one another. Because we literally talked about this today, right?
Yeah.
We were telling, me and Reggie were talking about one of the, you know, if you don't know, he put up a video this morning, and, you know, he was out on his hike. And it was about how, you know, we live, you know, we experience racism. You know, I was born in Kentucky. So if anybody's ever been to Kentucky, you know, I've experienced some racism in my lifetime, right? So I understand it exists. But what I was telling Reggie was that our ability, we said something that was so powerful and profound. He said, why would you create something outside of yourself that is more powerful than you? And it dawned on me, greater is he that is within me than he that is within the world, or he that is without me. Whatever is happening inside of me, I am more powerful than anything outside of me. My ability to create, my ability to manifest transcends all systems.
Yes.
All systems. No matter what that system is, it transcends it. They exist. Yeah, these things exist, but it doesn't impact me because I have the ability. I possess that ability to. I'm abundant. I can do all of these things. I can do all things that strengthen me. You get what I'm saying? So So when you hear that, greater is he that is within me than he that is in the world, it isn't from a Christian standpoint. It's talking about sometimes it's talking about the devil. Sometimes it's talking about your enemy. or those who ain't
Or
Christian,
your opposition.
or your opposition. The thing
Yeah.
about opposition is, we've been taught that opposition is evil, but that duality that exists in this journey is what perfects us. Well, I would say perfects it, but it helps us grow. I'm trying to stop using perfected, because you kind of put me on to perfection, and I'm like, that's good. That's good. But it helps us to grow, and it helps us achieve enlightenment and spiritual enlightenment. So
the hardships a lot of times are the catalyst. So the opposition that we have, which can be the hardships, and that the opposite aspect of what we want, a lot of times it is the catalyst to help us grow if we're not living in a victimized state, you know? And that's where a lot of people, when you start to get into these ideas that there's something outside of you more powerful than within you, then you live in that state and you can't grow. You can't grow when you give power to something outside yourself, and the power to basically rule your life, you know, no matter what it is. And so that to me is understanding the idea that he that is within me, meaning the he is the Father. The he is the divine masculine principle that has the ability to create. So that's the Father, that's the he that has more power within me than the he or any man or woman that is in the world.
Right.
And that's the power behind that, you know. But if we're not aware of this knowledge, and we're not aware of these principles, then you have nothing else to base these ideas on. And what I was talking about was this morning was, if a person's conversation is still based on demonizing white people, demonizing the system, demonizing they, you know, the ubiquitous they. If they're into demonizing that which is out there, they're living in a victimized state, and they cannot be a creator. So either you're a creator or a victim, but you cannot be both, because they're two opposing states of being, you know. But when you're demonizing something out there, then you're not looking at it as these catalysts that will prompt you or move you to overcome something. So that's what I was talking about this morning. So let's see here. So people are asking, and Bruno says, our model is Jesus was a perfect being, loving, compassionate, and fruits of the Spirit. Yeah, and that I talk about that idea in class a lot, that the idea of perfect is it's an impossible and unrealistic state, because perfection means that something is finished and it can never grow or change. That has reached this state that can never grow or change. And it's really not how the universe works, you know? And it's not how the universe, there's nothing in the universe that reaches a state to where it's perfected or never changes, you know, ever. So the idea of perfection, you don't even reach the idea of perfection, because even the idea in the Bible about Genesis is actually the ancient term, the ancient meaning of it was becoming, not beginning. Genesis is about becoming, and perpetually you're becoming or you are evolving. That's another way that we could use that term and look at that word. So a lot of the ways that we've been taught is they really become like anti-evolving. Wouldn't you say, Robert?
Yes. Yeah, it's actually counterintuitive to spiritual enlightenment, because it teaches you a corporeal Jesus robs you of your identity.
Because you're trying to emulate something, or emulate the state of perfect being that no one can ever be. And if you think about it in terms of Black people, if Jesus is supposedly white, and perfect, we can never be that. Which is crazy.
We'll never be that, and we'll always be coming up short.
Always, and lacking in some kind of way. And
Right.
what kind of mentality does that heap on individuals who would believe that?
Right.
And we see the fruits of it today in the African diaspora all over the world.
Yes, definitely.
All over the world. So, man, I see like we got 155 people watching and 111 likes. Come on, guys, let's get them likes up there. Would you? Would you? Okay. All right. So Robert, man, I really appreciate you coming on tonight and doing this.
Yes,
we'll definitely have to do this again because I know you're going to be studying and bringing some of that stuff to us in our room. So in our
yes,
Facebook
sir.
group. So we'll have to do this again.
Yes, sir.
But guys, I wish you would if y'all would take care of my man Robert, and I'll put his Cash App in there. Y'all, I know this man served y'all something tonight, something valuable. So if you would, please give to him and let him know that you appreciate him. That would definitely be appreciated. So again, Robert, thank you so much, man. Definitely appreciate it. And and guys, we are going to sign off. And I want to thank all my moderators. So Voche, Fort Law, the Dark Goddess, Ra the Creator, and I'm forgetting one other person. Fort Law, Ra the Creator, Dark Goddess. Who am I forgetting? Somebody type up there. Oh, Love JJ. Love JJ. So thank you all. I really appreciate you guys tonight. So and thank you all for giving as well. So y'all have a wonderful night, and we'll see you on next week. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. All right now. How do I? Let's see. I got to figure out how to stop this.